Hello, I'm Infamous Fear. What's the time? It's time for Infamous Queer!
Pride, 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 darling, darling, pride, pride, 95!
Keanu Reeves. He's almost the punchline to his own joke, but personally, I love him. Everything about him, from his ridiculously smooth face, to his strange, lobotomized delivery, to the fact that he hasn't aged in 20 years and he's probably a vampire. Hell, even if you don't think he's a very good actor, and I think he's been cast very well to gel with his distinctive style, then at least you have to admit that he's not actively annoying. He's not Shia LaBeouf. Owing to my love of Keanu, I've watched a few of his movies and I've come to a disturbing conclusion. Whenever Keanu is paired up homoerotically with a blonde actor, the man's doomed. I don't mean in the movie, I mean in real life. It's also directly proportional to the depth of the love that the co-star feels for Keanu. The more he loves the smooth-faced angel of death, the more quickly he's going to die.
Mike, I really want to kiss you, man.
River Phoenix? His character is desperately in love with Keanu. Dead at 23.
I know it's hard for you, Johnny. I know you want me so bad it's like acid in your mouth.
Patrick Swayze? Yeah, that's just homoerotic. He gets to live to 57.
I wanted to play his girlfriend.
No, I knew that was coming.
So why isn't James Spader dead yet? After all, he got paired up with Keanu in a film practically no one has ever seen. It fell into a strange niche. It wasn't good enough to be acclaimed, and it wasn't bad enough to be an impressive failure. In fact, it was only ever watched for its ridiculous levels of homoeroticism. It was called The Watcher. Did I mention that Keanu Reeves plays a gay dancing serial killer in this? And no, I didn't add that music. It was in the film. Joel Campbell is an FBI agent haunted by the murder of his girlfriend by a serial killer, which he consistently reminds us of in irritating flashbacks that look like a Prodigy music video. As a consequence, he's a nervous wreck on 1,000 different kinds of drugs, whose only human interaction is when he goes to see his psychologist. But then suddenly, a girl in his apartment is killed, and she's been killed by the same serial killer that killed his girlfriend. No detective work is required for this, because the serial killer, David Alan Griffin, is nice enough to let Joel know in the mail. Joel still smarts from the fact that he never managed to catch that serial killer who knocked off his girlfriend, so he brings it upon himself to let the FBI know that David Alan Griffin is now in town. And what's with the triple-barreled name? Were they trying to go for something menacing, like Lee Harvey Oswald or John Wilkes Booth? Well, there was no point, because we'll never remember the name. From now on, he's just Keanu.
You know I did it for you.
However, when it comes to criminal and law enforcement proceedings, Keanu is nice enough to provide that special, personal touch.
Hello?
Hi, it's me.
Me? Me who?
It's freaking cold here. Why'd you move here?
What the fuck do you want from me?
You seem so bored. I was expecting a warmer welcome.
Well, I didn't fucking ask you here, did I?
Joel must now have a memory like a sieve because of all the drugs he's been taking, so he has to write that down, even though it was only about 2 words and it should have been seared into his memory. I highly doubt you'd forget a call from a serial killer in a hurry.
I know your job is hard, Joel. So I'm willing to take steps to try and make things work between us.
What are you talking about?
The photos, Joel. I'll send you a picture, and you can have a day to try to find her. I'll give you till 9 o'clock. What do you say, Joel?
I say I should have moved to New Jersey, asshole.
Good night, Joel.
Okay, what the hell was with that line delivery? Shall we hear that bit again?
Good night, Joel.
He sounds like a lobotomized gay robot.
Good night, Joel.
So now we've learned that Keanu is going to provide some clues for the FBI. Isn't that nice? Don't you wish all serial killers were that helpful? I mean, I heard the Zodiac killer wrote his letters in some kind of stupid code. That's not very sporting, is it? While this is happening, Joel is reliving his experiences chasing Keanu in the blurry strobing visuals of a Prodigy music video. When he wakes up, he finds that Keanu is sending flowers.
Who is it?
Flowers for Joel Campbell. You didn't answer the phone and the door downstairs is open, so I thought I'd just bring the... and...
Flowers on the floor.
Oh god, I can't take this seriously anymore. Not that I could before.
The photos, Joel. I'll send you a picture, and you can have a day to try to find her.
Keanu then finds a new victim in an incredibly generic-looking blonde girl, probably to make the photograph thing extra difficult.
You do film processing here.
Yeah, 1 hour.
Mind?
Sure. What are you doing?
I'm going to test it out. I'm going to shoot some pictures, and you're going to process them.
Oh, well, that wasn't creepy at all.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. You looked adorable.
Oh, and if they were going to play Sneaker Pimps in the background of that scene, they picked completely the wrong song. They should have used this one instead. Keanu, meanwhile, is watching Joel, and from the looks of the footage quality, he must have 2 cheap camcorders for eyes. Well, that's a pretty severe disability. No wonder he turned out to be a serial killer. Oh, and if you were going to use Portishead for this shot, that was completely the wrong song. You should have chosen this one instead.
You shan't escape. Tethered and tied, there's nowhere to hide from me. You have to be.
Joel has the original photograph blown up very large, even though it's a film photograph and they don't have the original negative, meaning that they don't gain anything in resolution and they could have just looked at the original more closely or with a magnifying glass. But this is the Watcher, and Joel can learn Keanu's way of thinking simply by staring into the photograph with his trademark Joel face. Then what follows is a frantic running around sequence where they fail to stop the girl getting killed by Keanu before 9 that night.
Okay, you guys come with me.
Who spoke to the most recent caller?
I did.
You. Let's go.
Greg, let's take level 3.
Yes?
I need to speak to L.A. Buckner immediately.
Oh, she can't come to the phone right now.
No, please. Put her on the line immediately. It's a life or death emergency.
Not anymore, it's not.
L.A. Buckner.
Wait a minute, we've heard Keanu's modus operandi. He follows girls around for days, gets to know their habits, and then one day when they come home, he's already there, probably lurking in the closet if the 2 murders we've already seen is some kind of indication. So how is it that Keanu Vision shows Keanu following this girl from behind, and yet on the same day, when she gets home, he's already there? Not only does Keanu have cheap camcorders for eyes, but he can warp the fabric of space and time itself! Nobody is safe! Keanu is slightly upset that his crush hasn't caught him yet, so he seduces another likely victim with the power of dance.
Look, are you gonna give me some money or what?
Only if you dance with me.
Because nobody's got the fancy footwork like Keanu, right? Keanu then takes some time off being a serial killer and goes back to his old hobby of stalking. When Joel makes his next psychologist appointment, Keanu follows him there and makes one as well.
No, I don't think vengeance has anything to do with it. I think there's a story, a ritual that he follows. Over the years, I became part of the story. It probably didn't make sense without me.
In other words, he missed you.
Odd, isn't it?
Did you miss him?
What the hell does that mean?
Shipper on deck!
I'll be right there.
There's a massive race to find the woman before she's killed by the least threatening serial killer of all time, complete with her putting an amusing twist on the Say Anything boombox scene.
You like it?
Absolutely.
Oh, here. Let me turn it up.
But Keanu manages to kill her, and he escapes by breaking into a car. With a toilet. Why was a toilet there? Why couldn't he just use a brick? Symbolism! He drives away in his shitty car, and he evades the police by blowing up an entire petrol station. Joel, meanwhile, has a ridiculous seizure and has to go to hospital. Keanu steals the tapes from Joel's psychology sessions and listens to them with his victim's cat, like a supervillain.
In other words, he missed you.
Odd, isn't it?
Did you miss him?
What the hell does that mean?
But we've spent too long with regular narrative elements, and now it's time for another horribly shot flashback in which we learn that Joel is an idiot who didn't stop to untie a woman in a burning building because he was too busy chasing after Keanu. She burnt to death. Are you surprised? While we're in hospital, Joel remembers how Keanu sent him the worst get-well card of all time. Because we're friends? What does that even mean? That if they weren't friends, he wouldn't be sorry for the loss? The ridiculous condition for the sympathy is almost an insult. Included with the special message of Keanu's undying love for Joel is a photograph of the woman that Keanu bumped off over a year ago. Joel's girlfriend, Lisa.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
No, not that Lisa. Prodigy music video flashback Lisa. Using his amazing powers of deduction, Joel figures out that Keanu is waiting for him at Lisa's gravestone. I'm astounded that Keanu figured the post would be that reliable and that he'd be able to pinpoint the exact time that Joel would make it to the cemetery. Either that, or he was just camping out there using Lisa's gravestone as a pillow. I guess we'll never know.
Here. You want a beer? It'll make it feel better.
Oh hey, Keanu was camping out at the cemetery. He even brought provisions with him.
Here.
Fancy a gravestone beer, Joel?
Did you move 2,000 miles to live near this woman's grave? You did, didn't you? Man, you gotta get out more. I mean, is this a satisfying relationship? You know, she loves me. She's decomposing. She loves me. She's decomposing.
What are we doing here? I have no problem with shooting you dead where you sit.
Oh. You do have one problem. If I'm dead, your friend Polly is going to meet a rather gruesome fate, involving candlelight and quite a large pool of kerosene.
Joel rejects his offer of a gravestone beer and instead hands over his gun to a man with such a twisted love for him that I wouldn't be surprised if this scene ended with rape at gunpoint. However, this is a film with ratings too low for this kind of thing, which we'll demonstrate by having Keanu say fuck exactly once and never again throughout the whole course of the movie.
Why didn't you tell anyone you were fucking her?
So there's no explicit homosexuality in this, there's just a lot of subtext. So they're off together to rescue the boring psychologist who Keanu kidnapped only because Joel has a crush on her. He's obviously very personally motivated, trying to knock out all of Joel's love interests. Normally this would be an inference by an internet reviewer, but here it's canon. I don't even understand what Keanu sees in Joel. He could get a better boyfriend, he's not a bad-looking man. Or, I mean, even if he doesn't want to get a boyfriend, he could hire a prostitute or something. It's not as if Keanu has absolutely no experience with the world of prostitution.
I only have sex with a guy for money.
So they're off together to the warehouse where Polly is going to meet a rather nasty fate involving candlelight and a rather large pool of kerosene.
You're a good friend. You're like a brother to me. Did you know that?
Do you have any real brothers or sisters?
What the What is that? I'm trying to have a real conversation, and you're psychoanalyzing. What, Dr. Pauly now?
I was just curious.
Look at me when I talk to you.
Keanu, you idiot! When somebody's driving, you want them to look at the road. If you want to have a real conversation with them, just get them to pull over.
Can't you just leave your job out of this just this once? I'm telling you. I think you're spending too much time with that Pauly bitch.
What do you need? I want you to think about what you need. It's up to me to try and get that and make an exchange. Anything you need for Miss Spielman's safety.
What I need is you.
This romantic scene has no music at all, so I think I should add some. But in any case, Joel has managed to alert his co-worker as to the bizarro hostage situation underway, and now the co-worker is getting people to track their location.
Okay, he's about 20 miles north of the city.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do better than that. Now, come on.
No shit. Give me another minute, we'll have his exact location.
He's got experts on the case! We're now at the warehouse scene from the beginning of the movie. Keanu shows off his sweet moves. Polly is terrified. Keanu tries to get Joel to admit that the two have the bizarre symbiotic relationship of hunter and hunted, and that Joel needs Keanu to be there almost as much as Keanu desires Joel, which admittedly isn't too far off the profile of some serial killers, but usually it isn't handled this badly.
Oh, no, Pauly, no, I'm not gonna kill her. We need each other. We define each other. We're yin and yang.
Did you or did you not, in your professional opinion, reach the conclusion that Joel and I need each other in order to give meaning to our lives?
Yes.
Indeed, Keanu loves Joel so much that he shoots him through the leg.
He's right.
Then a million SWAT teams arrive, and Joel manages to distract Keanu long enough to stab him in the throat with a pen. Keanu accidentally sets the room on fire, and the three of them jump out the window. But wait, isn't Keanu immortal? Nah, it looks like he turned into a mutilated lump of burns. So now we can have an unsatisfying romantic conclusion between Joel and the only other actor in this film as bad as Keanu. And the paramedics in this film aren't very good at their job, seeing as they put a bandage on the outside of Joel's pants. I get that they were probably trying to preserve James Spader's dignity, or what little of it he had left after being in this film, but that's not what paramedics do. They'll cut the bra off your grandmother if they're going to resuscitate her. They're not looking to preserve your modesty. They're looking to save your life. And those pants would have been cut to ribbons before we even had time to wonder what the hell the point of this movie was. And that's The Watcher. A film about 1,000 times more ridiculous and hilarious than it looks in the trailer. I still don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Keanu Reeves, in addition to being the most unconvincing cowboy of all time, is also the most unthreatening serial killer of all time. An old granny would make a better serial killer. My pet rooster would have. Even a pot plant! Okay, maybe not a pot plant. There's just no way this film wasn't intended to be about Keanu having a crush on Joel. How else can you interpret the dialogue?
What I need is you.
This film is so bad that Keanu asked his name to be taken off the credits. He's ashamed of making this film. His roommate signed the contract and apparently he couldn't back out of it. I will concede that the premise is just an expansion of a typical serial killer movie, and that if you cast a competent actor who could actually be frightening instead of Keanu, and cut out the scenes with the dancing and the gravestone beer, you probably would have gotten an alright movie. It would have been rapey and disturbing instead of hilarious. But guess what? It would have also been really boring. Keanu is pretty much the only reason to watch The Watcher. His performance elevates it from just a generic action thriller movie, which you'd forget about in 5 minutes after you'd finished watching it, to a bizarre clusterfuck of a movie full of unintentional comedy. And one character having a desperate crush on the other character who doesn't reciprocate, so the first character murders a whole bunch of people, including that character's girlfriend, just to get his attention. Yeah, I liked this movie better when it was called The Dark Knight.
You complete me. You're garbage who kills for money.
I think this movie actually would have worked better as Batman and the Joker. Think about it. The Joker dances terribly, so he's the Joker. The Joker sends Batman flowers and weird get well cards. He's the fucking Joker! Trying to make this movie take place outside the world of comic books just sends it straight down the toilet and into the sewer of stupid. I have a theory about The Watcher. It's one of the only movies where it was all just a dream would actually improve the ending. Think about it. I had the weirdest dream last night, and you were in it. Why? What sort of dream was it? Well, it was some really stupid thing like I was an FBI agent and you were a serial killer I was trying to catch. And you gave me beer in a cemetery and you danced all the time really badly to Rob Zombie songs. You really shouldn't listen to Rob Zombie before bed, honey. That's the only way the movie makes sense. Well, that was The Watcher. And if you'll excuse me, I've got to go. I've got some beer chilling in a crypt downtown.
Every breath you take.